animals? J-Dog back for another goddamn fucking interview. And today's fucking interview, we got a goddamn local yokel from Ohio, even though we're out here in fucking hillbilly ass fucking Milwaukee, is goddamn Dan from fucking the band Ton. And it's funny because I've actually brought Ton up on the channel before, and I didn't even realize that he watched my shit or not. And he fucking left a message on the video. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just talk about local shit. I think did I show any of the CDs on the channel? Like any of my personals? Like did I bust them out like Blindfaller or Plague?
I don't know. I just remember you saying that we're like a band that you just don't hear people talking about. And you brought us up, and I'd seen some of your videos, but I hadn't seen that particular one. One of my friends sent it to me and was like, hey man, he mentions this.
Oh, so somebody forwarded to you, like tells you about, okay.
Yeah, I knew about your videos, and I had watched some, and I've watched a lot more since. But
yeah. So that's it. First canoe to walk right through, goddammit. It's not a video without one. So yeah, Devil's, count in there. How many canoes walking from the Canana? Let's get a canoe count.
One so far.
Yeah. But yeah, so what we're talking about, Ton, for the people that don't even know about them, is we were talking just a little bit earlier off camera. I think part of the reason why it maybe got overlooked was kind of like what you're saying, like the logo and shit like that, and just the name. They just see the name Ton, T-O-N, and just a logo. It almost looks like maybe a hardcore logo. And if they're in the death metal crowd, because that's what it's being appealed to, is just kind of overlooked. You know what's fucking hilarious about it too is I don't think by any stretch you guys sound like Dying Fetus, but I think that kind of that band could have got equally as popular because it has the elements of death metal, a little bit of grindcore, pinch of hardcore, and it's got those breakdowns, like kind of like, you know, those catchy hooks that people like, and it also had the dual vocals. And that's exactly what Dying Fetus likes, but you know, they're fucking larger than the goddamn life, so it's fucking absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, we got that comparison to Dying Fetus a lot back in the day, Cryptopsy. And yeah, in the early days when we were a four-piece, we actually all four did vocals. So we had the three guys out front doing vocals and the drummer. And even in the end of the band, when we were a three-piece, we still had the three vocalists because Kevin, the drummer, did vocals too.
Yes, I don't know if I've ever seen you guys at a four-piece. It's always the three-piece. It was you. Who was the bald one, Jeff?
Jeff Shepler.
And then the drummer was?
Kevin Kraft.
Okay, yeah.
And we had another guitar player named Paul Bennett. We started in '93, and I think he left the band in like '98.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because when I first saw Ton, it would have been at the earliest '99. I started going to shows in '98, but I never saw you the first year, or 2000. And then the one time, like I told you, you remember the story, well, I told you the story, is we've seen you like at, I know that I think the Fantasy, the one was upstairs, and definitely Ohio Death Fest, and maybe a couple times with the Flying Machine. But when we went out to Akron, where you guys are from, yeah, me, Eric, and Chase, we go in there, and none of us are 21. So we walk in, we were early in the show, bartenders come up to you, hey, you guys got IDs? No. How old are you? Like, I think Eric was 18, Chase was like 17, I was 15 or 16. So they asked us to leave. Yeah. And it was either you or Jeff that came up like, oh, man, guys, sorry.
No, I totally remember that. Because
I was like, oh, shit, this sucks.
I don't know which one of you guys it was, but to this day, I still feel like the fucking biggest dumbass. One of you had a picture, and you were having us sign pictures you guys had taken, I don't even know where.
Yeah.
There's a picture of me, and you gave me one of those paint pens, and I didn't know how to work it.
Oh, and you splashed. Dude, you weren't the only one. I have a few of my CD booklets and shit that splashed.
Yeah, well, I didn't just splash it. I like pushed down, and the fucking thing went all over. And I remember whichever one of you just kind of looked at me like, and then like wiped it off, and I was like, oh, God, I'm such an idiot.
Well, I forgot all about that, but yeah, that happened a few times. Yeah. But it's like, I remember the show, because we were there, and I'm like, well, I guess we're turning around and going home. And it wasn't 15 minutes, it was like a 45-minute drive for us.
Yeah, and that sucked because, you know, it was cool that you guys were there and they made you leave. And I'm pretty sure that's when we played with Regurgitation.
Oh, they're okay. Yeah, you could have. Yeah, because I mean, back then too, because Regurgitation played all the time. So I've seen them so many times. So I don't remember who was else on the bill, but we knew that we liked the band, and so we came. And yeah, that was the only time we got kicked out. Like, they were friendly about it.
Yeah.
They're just like, look, dude, it's state law. Like, we can't, like, we're going to get busted. I'm like, oh, all right, well, So they weren't dicks, but yeah, we had to go home. So I was like, oh, this fucking sucks. Now it's funny because at a couple of clubs, I had somebody ask or something, or bring it up, oh, there's a 21 and over. I'm like, oh, shit, I don't even think about that. That doesn't even cross my mind. You know what I mean? I was like, who isn't 21?
Yeah, I definitely remember that very well, actually.
Yeah.
Because of the whole pen thing.
So yeah, you guys, you asked about obscure bands. Justin Harvey said, yeah, tell us about obscure bands, J-Dog. We're tired of hearing about goddamn posers. We already know about them. Shit like Ton, I'm telling you, stuff like that. And he just happens to be wearing a Pessimist shirt. I told you about them guys too. That's another obscure band. First two albums. As a matter of fact, he just gave me Kel's contact now. I text him. We'll see. Will be no reply, probably. But I text him.
Oh, he'll get back with you. He seemed pretty excited. He hit me right back when I messaged him. So, and he's a super nice guy.
Yeah, because I see him, with the pessimist shirt, cool shirt on, fucking building. I'm like, dude, this is the shit I like, because I'm like, this is the stuff that I listen to that nobody talks about. Everybody's just talking about the current modern bands. And I'm just like, or, like I said, like when they think of Hell's Headbangers, they're always just bringing up like Blasphemy, Sarcophago, fucking Beharit, Archgold. I'm like, dude, I listen to so much shit outside of that wheelhouse, it's not even fucking funny. I was like, you guys don't bring up a lot of stuff that I own and like and love and what I bought as a kid, because those first 2 discs, yeah, I bought those, owned them, and they've never been on vinyl to this day. So now you're seeing now, just got the contact, maybe this is where it all started, where it'll happen on goddamn Hells.
Hell yeah. I love repping the old shit because, I mean, it's cool. A lot of people might not be aware of it. And there's a lot of these dudes my age that are still doing it. And I think it's fucking amazing because I never thought that I'd be 52 and still doing it.
That's good. Dude, I got you look like you're my age. I can't even believe that. Because even when you told me you're 52, I'm like, I knew you were older than me because from going to shows, I'm like, I never would have guessed that. So I mean, you've been the same for a long. You're in the club. I've been there in the very, very early stages.
Oh yeah. We were definitely doing it in the early days. Started in '93, so. We
Your
were
ton was 93?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking it was like 96, 97.
No, it was 93. I think our first demo was 93, but we definitely started.
Is the first demo then the blind follower, or how's that? Because that point of entry blind follower, isn't that just 2 demos on one or 2?
Yeah, that was our 3rd and 4th demo.
Okay.
On one CD.
Because that's what I own. I own that disc, which is probably my favorite. Blind follower point of entry disc, and then the Plague disc, and I knew that was an album.
Yeah, and we had 2 demos prior. One was called What Is Heavy. It wasn't even death metal. It was just us kind of trying to figure out what our sound was, and we were just excited to get something recorded to be able to pass around. And but we wanted to move away from that pretty quickly because when we got to the next demo, then we were definitely onto the death metal path because we were discovering all those early bands, and we were just like, fuck yes, we want to go this direction. We want to be brutal like these bands, We weren't trying to copy anybody, but we were trying to take that influence and just go to another level with it. For ourselves.
Yeah. Well, that being said, you're one of the fewer older guys, 50 plus, that still follows death metal up to like the 90s, 2000s, and even to today. I mean, you probably don't follow it as much as you did 25 years ago, but you're at least still somewhat up to date, as opposed to a lot of the guys your age. They're completely fucking clueless. You know what I mean? They stopped at fucking.
Well, I've never stopped playing in bands and making music, so I'm not going to pretend I know every band, everything about every band. But I mean,
no, but you're someone that, for example, I was impressed of how in the loop even Ross Dolan was. He was mentioning stuff like Witch Vomits and Titan Blood. I'm like, I'm shocked you even know what that is. Because some of these guys, they're completely clueless. You know what I mean? They know, like, I don't know, Morbid Angel. It's like, well, shit, I expect you to know that.
Well, first and foremost, I'm just a fan of metal. So, I mean, that's the only reason I ever started playing. It wasn't like, I want to be some great guitar player or something. It was like, no, I just want to play fucking metal.
Yeah.
So, I'm still just a fan more than anything, and that's what gets me excited to hear new bands and new music, and even still listening to the old shit.
Well, then speaking about death metal, then it's my common question I ask. So, like, what is like one of your all-time favorite death metal records? I know what you consider the greatest or first, or hey, for you.
Well,
I ask everyone that. Their answers are pretty similar, but different too.
I mean, the first thing that pops in my head when you ask that is Gorguts, Erosion of Insanity,
okay.
Or the early Suffocation.
So you kind of like more the brutal, the brutal / techie stuff in a sense.
Yeah, I like stuff.
So what do you think? For example, the first person to say this was Ronnie from Malignancy in my interview. I'm like, oh, that's a good pick. It's one of my favorites. It's not my all-time favorite, but it's probably my favorite album. Well, it is my favorite album from Canada. He said his favorite death metal album of all time is Cryptopsy, None So Vile.
I wouldn't say that's my favorite of all time, but I definitely remember hearing Cryptopsy for the first time. And I'm pretty sure we went to New York, just a quick story. We went to New York to play our first show out of state. Chris from Internal Bleeding brought us out. And we were at one of those guys' houses. Might have been their old guitar player, Anthony, I can't remember. But everybody was like talking about Cryptopsy. Oh, have you guys heard Cryptopsy? And somebody had the cassette. And I remember them putting it on, and everybody there was just like, whoa, what the fuck,
Right. Did you like it, or you're just like, whatever?
No, I liked it. I definitely was into it. I mean, because that was the time that we were just kind of soaking everything in and wanting to take ourselves to another level. And I was listening to an interview recently, and I can't remember who said it, but they said that like back in those old days, bands that were like coming off as technical weren't necessarily trying to be technical as much as they were just trying to push things
to the next
further
level. Yeah, I can see
to
it. Yeah,
be more brutal.
I can see it. Yeah.
And then it got labeled technical later.
You know, it's funny. I never even thought of it like that, but that makes sense because when the genre was getting created, it was getting. By the time after Cannibal was already had a couple albums, Suffocation shit, it's kind of like, what else is there to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that makes sense.
Yeah, 'cause that's all we were trying to do. Some of our music was just kind of, the riffs were kind of wacky, and I didn't understand timing back then, so I'm writing these guitar riffs where I think I'm like banging my head in time, and then the drummer's like, I don't even know what the fuck to do with this riff because it doesn't turn around where it would normally turn around, kind of. And I wasn't trying to do it to be like quirky or anything. It's just I just didn't understand music.
Did you write most of the stuff then? Were you the majority of the writer, or you guys all contribute? You know how you got most bands? They had the one guy. He writes most of the lyrics, not all lyrics. Another guy writes most of the music, not all. Are you the guy that like who?
No, it was well back when we had Paul in the band, we all contributed. It was mostly Jeff and I, and Paul would throw a riff here and there. And then after Paul left the band, Jeff and I were about 50-50.
Okay.
So Jeff plays guitar too, so yeah, we were pretty much sharing the writing. But we wouldn't like write a whole song each. We would write a few riffs and combine them. So with Ton, it was always combined riffs.
Yeah. Or like some of your favorite stuff out of Ohio metal bands. You know, I'm talking about just. I hate to use the word Cleveland because it's so goddamn dumb. It's like, dude, there was just shit that came out of Akron, Cincinnati, fucking Parma. Like, it's not just dumbass Cleveland. I'm so sick of hearing about that stupid ass city.
Yeah, I mean, you know, up in our area, you had Regurgitation and Blood Coven, Decrepit back in the day. I mean, that wasn't really my thing back then. And I remember there was a band called DK from down in
DK?
DK from down to Chile.
If so, I didn't.
There was like a whole Chillicothe scene happening back in the day.
If so, I was not. Did they do a demo or anything?
Yeah, there was a demo. I had the demo. I remember it was really cool.
I mean, the bands I remember, yeah, all the ones you mentioned, and plus From the Depths.
You know, From the Depths, we used to practice in an old schoolhouse in Canton. And From the Depths practiced there for a while, so we kind of knew those guys through that.
There was them, there was Samness. Do you remember Samness?
Samness,
it's funny because back in the day, Samness, I never really liked the music, but I liked the people. I liked Scott and Rhea and all them and Steve. I thought they were all really nice, cool people. But dude, in recent times, listening to this, I'm like, I actually kind of like them. I was like, dude, it's literally like Cradle of Filth, Demi Borgir style black metal. I was like, if you don't like that style at all, you're not gonna like it at all. But if you do, I was like, this. But I've been listening to them recently. I'm like, these are pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a very long time since I've listened to them, but I do remember that they were all very cool people, and so yeah.
But they played all the time.
Yeah.
And you remember Solus?
Oh, Solus! Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Wayne had been down at the From the Depths practice room and came into our practice room and kind of jammed out on my guitar a couple times. So yeah, we kind of interact with those guys.
And then before my time when I came in, because they already broke up, there was Embalmer.
Yep.
And then Embalmer broke up, and then they semi came back, and then, you know, everyone knows Rick's basically a fuck up. So when he was done dicking around, they kind of semi-broke it up again. And then Paul entered the band, and then it's been a like an ever-flowing stream since, because, you know, he's obviously a solid guy. So, but Embalmer's been back in the scene then. But there was all those splits. Because I remember when I first came in, going to shows and shit, I'd be wearing the Projectile Vomit shirt because Relapse sold it.
Right.
And There Was Blood Everywhere disc was like one of my, I was like, this is the best thing to ever come out of Ohio. I was like, nothing's better than this fucking, and I love it to this day. But they were a disbanded band at the time.
Yeah.
And I even remember, I was like, man, I would love to meet the guys in Embalmer to have them sign my shit. And you hear the stories, you're like, well, some of those guys, good luck.
Yeah,
like, Roy's about your best bet. All the other guys.
I saw them with lots of different members over the years.
Did you ever see them with the first singer, Toby Wolf?
I don't even know. I don't even know.
I forget when they left. Maybe 92, 93? Because I never did.
If it was that early, then no. Because we didn't even start till 93, and so I wasn't even really into the scene until then. So.
Yeah, because I didn't see those days either. I hear about them, yeah. And I think he lives in Texas now, if I'm not mistaken. He was the first singer, then Rick came in, and I mean, credit's due. I mean, Rick's voice on There Was Blood, I think, is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I love his vocals on there. And then obviously when he left and disbanded, then Paul's been since.
Yeah, and I think they're better than ever. Man.
Oh, I think they're great. I love it. I mean, they're supposed to be doing a new album. I'm assuming Hells is doing it. I'm pretty sure we're doing it. I'm totally looking forward to it because I liked Emanations a lot. I even like that Embalmed Alive. This they did it live in the studio, kind of like Mortician Final Bloodbath.
Yeah.
I told Corpse Grinder to have a Cannibal, but they won't. He's like, yeah. Well, I was like, we'll think on it. They ain't doing it. But I even like that. I thought it was really good because it captures that energy, and you hear a mix of the songs from the Into the Oven demo to the There Was Blood Every tracks, and then even the what the fuck's the last thing? Emanations, all mixed. I like that shit, you know?
Yeah,
so.
in recent years when I've seen them, I mean, they just sound great. They sound better than I ever remember them sounding, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. Well, is there anything you want to add, subtract, or bring up, or have the last word to say? Shows, bands, let's plug all that goddamn shit.
Playing in a few bands. I have a band called Mutual Hostility. We have an album coming out June 28th. Death metal, really cool stuff. I think if you were a fan of anything that I've done in the past with Ton, you would like it. It's probably a little easier to grasp, actually, a little more straightforward. I play bass in a band called 72 Legions, and I have a bunch of shows coming up with them and an album eventually with them. So that's pretty much what I have going on now.
And again, if you like any of the style stuff that you was talking about, like Dying Fetus or something like that, you got no excuse now in this dumbass year of 2023. All you got to do is search on YouTube. It's right there. You don't even got to buy the thing. You can check it out first, then be like, holy shit, this knocked my socks off. Then you can go out and search it.
All the old Ton
That's what I mean.
on YouTube.
You can YouTube it all. You can easily find it, so you at least check it out. So don't be fucking dumb. Don't be lame.
Check it out.
Check it the fuck out, because I know you haven't heard it, goddammit. And that's this one later, goddammit.